So one of the biggest things, and it has maybe less to do just with the cloud. What we find at Workday is that when people say cloud, it's sort of code for a lot of different things. It's code for in-memory data architectures, it's code for object-oriented modeling, it's code for mobile, it's code for a whole set of capabilities, not just something running in the cloud. So looking at taking advantage of all of those things, and fundamentally looking at what finance systems are doing and what we want them to do. One of the big things is looking really, really deep inside the core of those systems. My view is that, and anybody who's an accountant out there, I guess, apologize for a second, but my view is that the original sin of financial systems, they were built to do accounting. And they do that well. They do what they were built to do. They just don't do what we need them to do. We don't have an accounting problem today. We have an information problem. And if you think about what accounting is a really, really well-defined business model. We all have books about GAAP all over the place, or IFRS, depending on your country. But it's a thin data model. And if you can do, if you've got an account, amount, and a date, you can do GAAP, financial accounting. You can do general ledger. But there's so much more going on in a business than account, amount, and date. There's customers and products and suppliers and items and services and territories and people and all this stuff that is all automatically not part of your data model for finance because it's about accounting. What we're able to do with all these things around the cloud is we're able to expand that picture and create not a general ledger center, but a business-based center that can combine all of that can capture all of that data. It's a little bit like pulling the data warehouse from the outside, which, by the way, has never worked, and put it in the inside, doing business first, do accounting second, because I have all that good stuff, I can always pull out accounting. But if I have all that good stuff there, now I've got a foundation that I can do a lot of work with. So that's one of the foundational things. You've got to build a system not around accounting. And the 30-year-old systems we've got, accounting is so embedded in that, we can never change it, which is why we have to do all this external plumbing around data warehouses and those kind of things, and why they become so brittle. So that's one example of something we're doing at Workday, is we're completely changing, essentially, the system of record for finance from being an accounting system to a business system. So we don't have an accounting problem, we have an information problem. So that's one way.
It is a fresh sheet of paper, but there were a lot of hidden constraints that usually you have to report to. And time is a big constraint.
Right?
Money is a big constraint.
Yeah.
People's abilities and current business processes is a big constraint. So you got to move this train along the track, and it's hard. It's very hard. And you know, there is no perfect solution out there. It's about trade-offs. I mean, I react to what you're talking about. We should get the best of breed out there. Well, I'm sorry, if it's done at the cost of additional integration or assembly time and money and management oversight, I better have a very good business case, because otherwise I'll go with, you know, if it's blue, why do you need it red? Show me what the value is. Although it's much easier now to integrate than it used to be under the cloud and all of that, it is a challenge. I'll give you an example. Our first implementation of ERP was one country, one plant. Mind you, it was the overall supply chain globally. There were 78 connectors. There's only one ERP. There were 78 bolt-ons, and unbelievable. So these are 78 decisions we took to not go to mainstream, if I want to exaggerate a little bit. So it's not, I mean, the reality is very, very challenging. There's still a wall between the system of record and the system of engagement, especially when it comes to integrating customer data, customer preferences. You know, it's not that it's very difficult. It's just it's a lot of work, and it requires, I would say, dedicated thinking that we're going to make this work from all levels of the organization. To add to these constraints and complexity, the world is a big place and varies by country, by region. Customer engagement is not the same in Brazil than it is in the US. So when you talk about a global platform, global cloud, it's easier said than done.
The IT organization of yesteryear and today is actually quite poorly equipped and structured to serve the needs of the business well, right? I think fundamentally, if I had to just generalize and say the people you need, the skill sets, and maybe you need to organize this way to deliver value at the point of engagement and connect it back to the system of record is architects, first of all. A special kind of architect, I would say, is a data scientist. I think you need that. I think you need entrepreneurs, people who are maybe you would traditionally call business partners, but they're not order takers, they're true business partners. They're working with marketing, sales, and others to think about the new tool set that's out there and how they're going to apply that to providing a new product, right? And then you need the operators and project managers. I think those are the fundamental skill sets, and I think we've got overly complicated, very legacy hierarchical organizations that they're trapped in the silos that they've been taught to think in for the past 30, 40 years, and I think that's where we need to focus our attention, and the cloud will simply become part of the toolkit.